was at the moment that Matt Hancock decided he probably wasn't re-entering government, and so might as well take up a new career eating kangaroo penis. We might never know. What we do know is that the former health secretary will be taking part in this year's series of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and that his decision has led him to losing the Tory party whip. Asked about Hancock, a spokesperson for Rishi Sunak said, "At a challenging time for the country, MPs should be working hard with their constituents, whether that's in the House or in their constituency." The chair of his local Conservative association told Papers this: "I'm looking forward to him eating a kangaroo's penis. You can quote me on that. Can't say I agree." But writing in The Sun, Matt Hancock has defended his decision. He said, "While there will undoubtedly be those who think I shouldn't go, I think it's a great opportunity to talk directly to people who aren't always interested in politics, even if they care very much about how our country is run. It's our job as politicians to go where the people are, not to sit in ivory towers in Westminster." Another motive for Matt Hancock might be to promote his book. It's called Matt Hancock's Pandemic Diaries, the inside story of Britain's battle against COVID, co-written with Isabel Oakeshott. He'll of course be hoping that his adventure in the jungle would be better for his career than the last time he got caught out by a hidden camera. It was the release of this image that ended his career as health secretary, and is the reason he'll have the time to be eating bugs, or kangaroo penises, down under with Ant and Dec. Ash, will you be watching, and are you convinced that this is just him trying to reach out to the masses, or is it just about him trying to fulfill some gross fetish that none of us needed to hear about in the first place?
I mean, look, I'm not going to be watching, mostly because if I have to watch desperate people put penises in their mouths and they're unsure of why they're doing it, it reminds me too much of my second year at uni. So I've never watched I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. But Matt Hancock, I find just a fascinating psychological specimen, because I don't think I've ever seen or heard of anybody who's more thirsty for adulation and acceptance than he is. And it makes him a really weird guy. I mean, in my head, whenever I read the name Matt Hancock, it's like it autocorrects to Hank Marvin, because this brother is starving. I don't know what was missing in his childhood, but he's taking it out on all the rest of us. I mean, this argument that politicians have to go where the people are, there aren't that many people in the Australian rainforest. You know, there's just some other celebrity Big Brother contestants and maybe somebody who used to be on MasterChef. So this idea that it's some sort of noble populist enterprise is absolutely for the birds. I think what Matt Hancock is trying to do is work out his post-ass grab career trajectory, because he's somebody who immolated his own marriage in a very public way. He was brought down from high office because he was caught on camera having an illicit snog, and there isn't a path back to front bench politics for him. So I think what maybe he's trying to do is dip a toe in the world of television, maybe trying to go down the sort of lovable Michael Portillo route. But I'm not sure if it's going to work, because he's totally devoid of charm. You just see kind of beaming from, you know, the back of his brain somewhere, like, love me, accept me, please pat me on the head. And there's nothing more off-putting than the faint whiff of desperation, which is, again, something I heard a lot in my second year of uni.
Matt Hancock is what we call in South London a beg, and it is the worst possible thing you can be. So, I mean, I also think the reason that his shift isn't going to work is because his name is so heavily associated with one of the biggest, most tragic public health crises we've ever had. Like, his name, when I think of him, I just think about all those unnecessary deaths, all the NHS staff that were kind of abandoned using bin bags as, you know, PPE. I don't think you can come back from that in like a lovable way when, you know, so many people have lost so much. But also just generally, I think like these reality TV stars, politician crossover, like, don't you have enough to do in your job? Like, especially when Parliament is sitting, which is when Matt Hancock is jetting off to Australia to do God knows what.
Clearly not. I mean, now he's no longer health secretary. He can't hand out crony contracts worth millions of pounds to, some guy who he goes to the pub with. But what I will say is this, is that I'm totally with you. Whenever I look at Matt Hancock after the horrible images of playing tonsil hockey recede from my mind, obviously the thing that you think about is the government's disastrous handling of the coronavirus pandemic. But I do actually think that politicians or political operators, almost no matter what they've done, are able to reinvent themselves through the media. And I think that says a lot about how the media is willing to launder people's reputations. Take Anne Widdecombe, someone who, as a Conservative MP, was responsible for some of the most vicious homophobia, pro Section 28 headbanging, which made queer people's lives in this country an utter misery. She went on Strictly Come Dancing, and she sort of almost reinvented herself as like a cuddly, awkward reactionary. Edwina Curry is found on Good Morning Britain almost every other week, opining on something or other. And again, she's almost cleaned up part of her image. And I think the worst example of this is, of course, Alistair Campbell. Alistair Campbell pioneered that political strategist / spin doctor role under Tony Blair, and he helped build the case for a war which killed up to 1 million Iraqi civilians on the basis of a lie. And what he did is that he laundered his reputation through saying yes to the right media projects and also reinventing himself as a mental health spokesperson. So then lots of the really awful things that he did in power, whether that was being abusive and aggressive, or indeed whether it was his part in building that case for an illegal and totally unnecessary war, was almost made palatable by like, oh yeah, but he was really suffering during that time. So I don't think that there's anybody who the media aren't willing to launder. But the fatal flaw in this case, Dahlia, as you said, is that Matt Hancock's a beg. You don't warm to him.